Welcome once again to this past week's edition of An Irritable Person's Mailbag, during which I will recite in my deliciously untrained voice everything you could have read Monday through Friday on my Substack, Ask an Irritable Person. Monday. Dear Irritable Person, you are probably the wrong person to ask, but there aren't that many big-time advice columns out there, and the advice they give seems as sketchy as yours. So I randomized a list of advice columnists, and the algorithm came up with you. Here goes nothing. I have been out of the workforce for nearly 30 years, give or take, and today was my first day back at work in an office with other people. One reason I wanted to return to work was that I was tired of being on my own so much, and I wanted to connect more with other people. My head is exploding. After a day of connecting more with other people, well, it's lunchtime. So after a few hours of connecting more with other people, I am thinking that I made a terrible mistake. Because people really seem to suck. They are strange and essentially unknowable, and primarily interested in themselves. Each of them has their own personality quirks, which they expect you to respect. People just rub me the wrong way. At the same time, while the core of my being is flooded with disdain for them, I want them all to love me. I get angry when, after speaking with me only briefly, they go back to their own work, rather than putting that aside for the opportunity to spend more time with me. Is there something wrong with me? I shaved my nose hairs this morning, which I almost never do, just to make the best impression possible, so what's their problem? Is there something off in the way I come across to people? If so, I just don't see it. Sincerely not expecting much from you, Discomfited. Dear Discomfited, well, first of all, thank you so very fucking much for the vote of confidence. Wow, out of all the shitty advice columnists out there, you picked me. Randomly. Thanks. I chose to respond to your letter just so I could say that to you. Now on to my sketchy advice. Yeah, I can see why you worry about how you come across to people. Even in an email, which no doubt you wrote many, many times when you should have been working, you are a disaster. Here's a hint, Nimrod. If you're asking someone for advice, don't start off by telling them that you expect their advice will be useless. As far as other people sucking, buy a mirror, kid, and look into it. Deeply. Who sucks? You suck. Granted, everyone else probably sucks too, but welcome to humanity. Wake up and smell the flop sweat. You haven't even been at work one day. Did it ever occur to you that when you make an enormous life change like this, you may need time to adjust? Or is that advice too sketchy for you, you ingrate? Give it time. A few years, or until retirement age, depending on how deeply your 401k is cratering. You'll be fine. People like you always are. I, for one, despise you. Do you care? No, you don't. Get over yourself. Sincerely, Irritable Person. Tuesday. Dear Irritable Person, can you help me evict the person who lives rent-free in my head? He is awful, and he won't stop trash-talking me. The identity of my tenant changes from time to time. Sometimes it's the friend of a friend, sometimes it's an ex-friend, sometimes it's a relative. But it's always someone who I rarely, if ever, see in real life. And the rude son of a bitch is always a he. Surprise! Usually my tenant is an ex-friend of mine, and he is exhausting. Always telling me that what I'm doing is wrong, or asking, are you sure you want to do whatever it is I'm contemplating doing that makes me feel in any way happy or hopeful about the future? I've tried many ways to deal with him. I imagine arguing with him, cajoling him, reassuring him, all sorts of things. But my personal favorite is denouncing him. It feels so damn good. Once, I denounced him during a powerful 2-hour-long speech in front of the United Nations General Assembly, which censured him unanimously. Yes, even North Korea. I did Model UN when I was in 7th grade, and I guess I've never recovered. 12 is probably way too young to try to solve the world's problems, and it left a mark, but that's for another email. Back to my original problem. How do I get rid of this sticky son of a bitch? Sincerely, Bifurcated. Dear Bifurcated, sorry, you're stuck with him. because he is you, and you are he, and you are all together, goo goo gajoob. In short, you are the walrus bitch. Google it. I don't have time to explain the reference to you. Stop blaming this other guy who, for all you know, got hit by a bus 3 years ago. And if that thought makes you smile, you are one sick motherfucker and my target audience. I'm surprised you haven't tried imagining murdering him. Go ahead, I dare you. It won't improve your mental health. In fact, just the opposite. And it won't work either. This thing is like Freddy or Jason. Again, Google it. You kill the bastard again and again, but there's always another sequel as long as someone sees a payoff on the horizon. Here's what I want to know. What's your payoff for resurrecting Jason? Think about it and write me back sometime. If we're going to deal with all your issues, it's going to take a long time and many, many emails. Intrigued against my will? Irritable person. Wednesday. Dear irritable person, I subscribe to about a dozen streamers. They really add up financially, and I can't remember the last time I watched most of them. Which streamers do you think I should churn out of? List redacted. Sincerely, oversubscribed. Hey, oversubscribed, that's your big problem? Do better. Give me something real to work with. Seriously, irritable person. Dear irritable person, 5 years ago, it'll be 6 years in June, happy anniversary, I murdered my best friend, name redacted, in an unhinged frenzy of blackout drunken rage. I can't remember why I did it, but I'm sure he had it coming. Fortunately, I'm ex-law enforcement, so I really know how to cover my tracks. My real problem is that I do occasionally feel guilt about it. Still, after almost 6 years. I mean, what the hell? What is wrong with me? What's the statute of limitations on guilt? Why can't I disappear my conscience as cleanly and easily as I disappeared name redacted? Most of the time, I don't feel anything. Not good, not bad, not anything. Just that low buzzing sound the air conditioner makes. I like it like that. What can I do so that I have that low buzzing sound 24/7? Should I try meditation? Sincerely this time, oversubscribed, aka murdered my friend and got away with it. Dear, let's just stick with oversubscribed. Okay, when I told you to give me something real to work with, you seriously overshot the mark. It's a real hoot in a deeply ugly way that you ask, what's the statute of limitations on guilt? You are seriously asking about the wrong statute of limitations, my dude. Funny that you've forgotten, or never knew, that there is no statute of limitations on murder, particularly since you're ex-law enforcement. And by the way, thank you for the chill up my spine that tidbit gave me. This is not the How to Be a Better Psychopath advice column. If you want that, I suggest Dear Abby. You can write to her from prison several times a day because you're about to have a lot of downtime, fucker. I delayed publishing our correspondence until your former colleagues in law enforcement let me know that you were safely locked up. What you are really suffering from is not occasional pangs of guilt. It's called, in therapeutic circles, a desire to be caught, which is something that sometimes shows up among very stupid criminals such as yourself. I was more than happy to forward our correspondence and your email address, which included your full name, so way to go, slick criminal, to the authorities. And now your desire to be caught has been fulfilled. You're welcome. Very sincerely, irritable person. P.S. Looking forward to meeting you at your trial, dirtbag. Thursday. Dear irritable person, I've been reading your column from the first day, and it's quite clear to me that you are a thoroughly miserable person. But I think you can be so much more than the small, bitter man, I'm assuming you're male, that you've become. Allow me to give you some advice, brother. Hang on to something, because I am about to lift you up from the dirt trail of, wow, look at me, I have a column on Substack, and set you up on the yellow brick road to true success. You, my friend, are punching down when you need to be reaching up. Look at the company you've chosen to keep, your readers. People so desperate and downtrodden that they come to you, for God's sake, a man of no empathy or compassion, for advice on delicate personal matters. And you repay their trust by taking a massive dump on them, verbally abusing them, giving them terrible advice, and, in at least one recent instance, turning them into the police. Clearly, you are the one-eyed king of this island of the blind, telling your subjects, look at me, over here. No, over here. At least I've got some depth perception. Flip the script. Don't seek out those to whom you feel superior to and talk down to them. Instead, seek out those who already are where you want to be next. Learn from them. When you start to feel too comfortable among those you're associating with, reach higher. Keep reaching higher. Sincerely, Striver. Dear holier-than-thou bullshit artist, did I ask you for advice, dollar store Tony Robbins? Honestly, what a load of horse shit. Do you live in a barn? Is that where you get your inspiration from? I bet you do. I bet you do live in a barn, you mewling pedant. As you can tell from my tone, I don't feel threatened by what you said, in the least. Quite the contrary. I pity you. What's all this reaching up nonsense? Human beings are pond scum. We all settle eventually exactly where we belong, at the bottom of the swamp. What's wrong with being comfortable? I'm very comfortable, thank you. Am I supposed to want to be uncomfortable? What sort of sadist tells people to be uncomfortable? Do you sleep on a bed of nails in your stall at the barn? Oh, and by the way, what level are you at, big guy? If you read my column from the beginning, as you say you have, then it seems to me you're one of the unfortunates living on my damn island. All you've succeeded at is in irritating me in a way that I don't even enjoy. You are blackballed, mister. Sincerely, Irritable person. Friday. Dear Irritable person, I had, this friend. When I met him, he was nothing. Just this lump that sat in the corner of the coffee bean where I worked and stared into space all day. He didn't even bother to bring a laptop with him and pretend he was a writer. I felt very sorry for him, so I took the trouble to be nice, chat him up, let him know that I remembered his name from one visit to the next, that I cared, alone among all humankind, that he was alive and walking the planet. And then one day, finally, I got him to smile a little bit, and I thought, hallelujah, the ice has broken. Over time, I got him to open up a little more. I asked him if he had any hobbies, and he said no. I asked him what he liked to watch on TV, and he said that he liked to watch talk shows and talk back to the people on screen. This touched my heart, as I too have a history of mental illness on both sides of my family. I felt I could help him. That is what I live to do, to help others. I gave him my friendship, and I thought he gave me mine, to the extent that he was capable of simulating human feeling or thought. Now this person is on his way to becoming a famous and successful writer. Who knew? I guess he was spending all that time in Coffee Bean thinking or something. I'm sure he now has lots of arty, snobby friends, or should I say, friends. He definitely no longer wants to have anything to do with me. He stopped coming to my Coffee Bean. In fact, he's moved across town, and if I had a nickel for every restraining order he's filed against me, I'd be able to buy my own Coffee Bean. What would you say or do to someone who treated you so shabbily, who dismissed you once you had served your purpose, who disrespected your feelings and made you feel like you didn't exist? All I want is to have this person back in my life, so he can show me in very tangible ways how sorry he is. Sincerely, Anonymous. An irritable person responds. I know who this is, Thomas, and I don't appreciate this little ambush à clef of yours. I think you may actually believe some of the things you say, given my personal experience with you and the professional opinion that the prosecution psychiatrist provided the court at your trial. Congratulations on your escape, by the way. Let me try to set you straight in the hope that once you are reacquainted with the facts, you will comprehend the full horror of the descending arc of your mental deterioration and be motivated to turn yourself in to the public mental health authorities, your immediate superiors, in madness. You took the trouble to be nice to me because you convinced yourself that, since I spent so much time in cafes, I must have significant assets or passive income. Your motivation in cultivating me was financial, not familial. However, I do believe that the truth occasionally slipped out during the long, rambling Jeremiads you unfurled before me like tattered chainmail, and that you do indeed have a history of mental illness on both sides of your family. When I told you during our first conversation that I didn't have any hobbies and that I talked back to the television, I was just trying to drive you away, you idiot. But if you are anything, you are persistent. Like fleas, if left untreated. You overwhelmed me for a time, and I succumbed. The restraining orders stand. I still too vividly remember the day you followed me to Gelson's after the coffee bean and performed Mama's turn in the produce aisle in hopes that I would finance your one-man show if you could hear me now. Please, go back to prison. Never yours, Irritable Person. And that's it for this week's mailbag. Look for Irritable Person's weekly catch-up audio mailbag every Sunday, and follow the daily column, Ask an Irritable Person, every Monday through Friday on Substack. Because no, you haven't suffered enough.